It's always a great time of year, and when you're a professor, you start thinking about how things are special for being a professor. And one of the things I think that's great about this job is that you get older, but your students never get older. They always remain the same age, and so I think there's something special about that. Like in other jobs, all the guys around you get older with you. Here, they never do. And so somehow like Peter Panish. And I think with PhD students, it's even more special because you spend so much time with them. Sometimes you don't want to spend that time, but they refuse to leave. I think with Dinakar, it was particularly special for me because I think he was the one student, and I was thinking like I've had about 3,000 other students, but only 7. He's my 7th PhD student. So, I was involved with him right from the beginning before he got here because I was a doctoral coordinator, so I had to call him up, interview him, and finally, tell him that, hey, they're going to make you an offer, and like, he's going to come in. And he said, yeah, I'm coming, but by the way, I'm getting married next week. I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, I'm going to get married next week, and then I'll come here. And then he had a lot of visa problems. He used to work for the Department of Defense, so the, US guys were suspicious. And, hey, what's he going to do, and so on. And so we had to go through some hoops to get him a visa to come here. And so there are a lot of special things about him. He got here, and he's been incredibly productive. Like as soon as he got here, he had his first child. He's working on his second already. So he's that guy. So he's special in that way. And he's also a guy, unlike most students, he sort of really got involved in different facets of the university. Like he was a resident advisor. His wife, worked with Wayne Ferson in finance in the journal. So he was sort of involved in, so he's sort of like a well-rounded personality. Some of that is due to his wife's cooking, of course, but he also takes the initiative on that. Finally, in terms of his work, it's really becoming more and more difficult to do a good dissertation in marketing, especially in empirical marketing. You've got to master a lot of technical skills, and you've got to find an interesting problem and estimate these models and so on. And it's quite difficult. And I think Dinakar really stood out in being able to sort of learn many different techniques. He used dynamic models, structural models, and he really studied an interesting problem, which is how new and used goods compete with one another. And he sort of, I think he structured it very nicely, thinking about all, when the first place where they compete with each other is when a customer decides that he's going to replace his old product with his new product. Then he goes out into the market, and then he can choose between either buying a new product or a used product. So he had sort of many dimensions of this competition, and I think he did an excellent job of sort of having a good dissertation that explored this in great detail, and so I'm very happy about that, and I hope that he sort of keeps working on it and sending it out to the journals and so on. He also has a great job at Chicago, at IIT, which where I came from, but my IIT was Indian Institute of Technology. He's at Illinois Institute of Technology, so it's all the same thing. What's in a name? Chrysanthemum by any other name would be easier to spell. But having said that, I think the last point I want to make for Dinakar is to say that, hey, this is not the end. This is not even the beginning of the end. It's just the end of the beginning. Thank you.